Hamilton receives surprising news about the 2026 Ferrari. Verstappen responds to the FIA's change of racing rules. And good news for Lance Stroll fans as he is back on the grid. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Lewis Hamilton has made headlines recently, but not for reasons fans would hope. After joining Ferrari at the beginning of the F1 2025 season, he has faced significant challenges that have even stirred discussions about his future in the sport. Veteran FIA steward Derek Warwick has come forward, suggesting that Hamilton might be contemplating retirement, expressing that the racing champion deserves to claim an 8th World Championship title. This announcement came as a surprise, especially considering Hamilton's illustrious career with Mercedes, where he secured 7 titles. When Hamilton made his move to Ferrari last winter, he had high aspirations to finally clinch that elusive 8th title. However, his season started off on a rocky note. In the China sprint race, he successfully converted pole position into a victory, which raised hopes. Yet, things declined from there. Hamilton struggled alongside his new teammate Charles Leclerc, consistently finishing no higher than 4th in the races. Leclerc has been proving his worth, claiming all podium finishes for Ferrari this season, leaving Hamilton in a challenging position. Warwick voiced his observations from the sidelines, commenting on Hamilton's difficult transition after 12 seasons with Mercedes. He suggests Hamilton may have underestimated the complexities of joining a new team. Warwick believes that if Hamilton can't find his stride soon, he might consider stepping away from Formula One completely. He emphasizes that while many fans expect a 7-time world champion to easily adapt to the new car dynamics, Hamilton's adaptation has not followed suit. The mechanics of racing are intricate, and Warwick points to the steering wheel's numerous adjustments as a critical factor. He notes that while Charles Leclerc has adapted, Hamilton seems to be struggling with the car's feel and systems. This difficulty is concerning, especially for a driver of Hamilton's caliber. Warwick's remarks reflect a worry that if Hamilton continues to lag behind, he might grow frustrated with his performance, leading to thoughts of retirement. Despite the ongoing challenges, Warwick remains hopeful for Hamilton's potential to challenge for races and titles. He passionately stated that Hamilton deserves success for his contributions to the sport and believes he still has the talent needed to excel. However, he warns that if the current trend continues, it might lead Hamilton to seek a different path away from racing. As the season unfolds, fans and analysts alike will be watching closely. Can Hamilton adapt to his new surroundings at Ferrari, or will the struggles push him to reconsider his future in Formula One? Only time will tell if the 7-time champion can reclaim his competitive edge and fulfill his ambitions in his new team. Lewis Hamilton has been making headlines lately as he navigates the early days of his Ferrari career. Many are curious to see how he adjusts to the iconic team, especially given the mixed results he's experienced so far. With whispers of a reality check echoing through the paddock, it's clear that Hamilton is not the same dominant force he once was. Fans are eagerly waiting to see if his perseverance can turn the tide. In other news, Carlos Sainz has shed light on the true risks associated with Hamilton's transition. As Hamilton grapples with the challenges, Sainz highlights that living up to Ferrari's storied legacy can come with significant pressure. It raises questions. Will Hamilton rise to the occasion or buckle under the weight of expectations? Amidst the ongoing struggles, rumors have emerged that Hamilton's requests might finally be met. There are indications that positive changes could be on the horizon for the driver who has so often set the standard in Formula One. Could this be the turning point in Hamilton's story at Ferrari? Only time will tell, but one thing is for sure. The Canadian Grand Prix is set to be thrilling with Stroll back in action. Lance Stroll is officially back in the driver's seat for the Canadian Grand Prix, much to the relief of his team and fans alike. Aston Martin confirmed his return, stating that he had successfully completed a medical procedure that addressed the symptoms he was experiencing. Just recently, Stroll got some practice laps in at Circuit Paul Ricard, a famous track that once hosted the French Grand Prix. His team expressed their pleasure with the news, emphasizing his readiness to compete in Montreal this weekend. Stroll himself conveyed his excitement about returning to racing, especially at his home Grand Prix. He mentioned that he was determined to be ready for the fans in Montreal. Gratitude was apparent in his words as he thanked his supporters for their encouragement throughout this process. With Stroll back behind the wheel, the stakes are high, and anticipation is building for an exhilarating race this weekend. Will he deliver a remarkable performance in front of his home crowd? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing is certain. The Canadian Grand Prix promises to be thrilling with Stroll in action. Stay tuned for more updates as we bring you closer to the exciting developments in Formula One. Lando Norris recently shared his thoughts on the racing tactics of rival driver Max Verstappen. These two athletes have faced off on the track multiple times, and while Norris doesn't think Verstappen has acted out of line, he acknowledges the challenges it brings. Norris stated that Verstappen is within his rights to defend his position aggressively. He recognizes Verstappen's reputation for tough racing. In fact, their most recent battle at the Mexico City Grand Prix featured some intense moments. During that race, Verstappen was penalized for pushing Norris off the track. Just last week in Barcelona, he received additional penalty points for dangerous driving against George Russell. In a lighthearted moment, Norris humorously compared Verstappen's racing style to something out of the Mario Kart video game while in the cooldown room. Yet, when quizzed about his earlier comment, he played it down, saying, "I don't remember saying it." Despite these competitive encounters, Norris firmly believes their rivalry remains fair, emphasizing that Verstappen has not crossed any lines in their races. In an interview with BBC Sport, he expressed, "I don't think he's done anything untoward towards me. He's raced against me very, very toughly, as he has the right to do," adding that these challenges have improved his own skills on the track. Norris holds a deep respect for Verstappen. He admires not only his prowess on the racetrack, but also his character and achievements. Norris mentioned, "He's made my life very, very tough at times, and he has the right to do that. I've said it many times. I have a lot of respect for Max. The driver he is, the person he is, what he stands for all of the time, and what he's achieved, his 4 world championships." In the world of Formula One, respect among competitors runs deep, and while on-track battles might be fierce, it's clear that Norris values the sport's integrity and the camaraderie that exists among drivers. As we follow this ongoing rivalry, it will be interesting to see how both drivers continue to push each other to greater heights. The competitive spirit in racing not only entertains fans, but also cultivates excellence within the sport. And with the current state of play in F1 set to evolve further in 2025, fans can expect more thrilling performances and perhaps even more unforgettable battles between these two. Stay tuned as we continue to cover the latest happenings in Formula One. In the world of racing, every driver has their own philosophy and approach. Verstappen is no exception. He firmly believes that racing is about being assertive. "I race in the aggressive way I believe is correct," he explained, noting that ultimately, it's up to the stewards to determine what's right or wrong on the track. Norris, reflecting on Verstappen's tactics, acknowledged that overtaking isn't always straightforward. "When you're racing for wins and championships against the best," he said, "you can never expect things to be easy." His racing roots taught him that making overtakes around the outside can be risky. "It's rule number 1 in go-karting," he added. However, there's a balancing act to be played. Racing is not just about speed, but also strategy. Norris emphasized that the primary goal is always to finish the race. Sometimes, trying too hard can lead to mistakes that jeopardize everything. "You might end up not finishing the race, even if you're in the right," he cautioned. As we consider the future of F1, Verstappen has long been eyeing an entry into endurance racing. A 4-time Le Mans winner believes it's just a matter of time before we see him at the iconic race. Looking ahead to the Canadian GP in 2025, predictions are already buzzing. Could Hamilton score a podium, or might Verstappen face a ban? Speculations are rampant. Finally, amidst all the thrilling predictions, the question looms over Verstappen. Is a race ban on the horizon for this season? As we gear up for the Canadian and Austrian Grand Prix, all eyes will be on the track and the unfolding drama. Ferrari is making significant changes as they prepare to shift focus from the current season to their next project, known as Project 678. This is crucial news for fans and analysts alike, especially with Lewis Hamilton at the helm of these discussions. As the F1 2025 season unfolds, Hamilton, driving for Ferrari after his long stint with Mercedes, has been vocal about the team's performance and plans. Despite entering this season with high hopes following a narrow defeat to McLaren in the Constructors' Championship, the Scuderia finds themselves trailing by a staggering 197 points as they approach the Canadian Grand Prix. The team has been forced to make alterations to their car, the SF25. They opted for a pull rod front suspension, similar to what McLaren and Red Bull use, hoping this would give them an edge. However, this gamble has not paid off as anticipated. Hamilton's teammate, Charles Leclerc, managed to secure 3 podium finishes in Saudi Arabia, Monaco, and Spain. But overall, the team has struggled. They've grappled with significant issues, notably a ride height problem that forced adjustments compromising the car's performance. This has led to frustrating moments for Hamilton, including a disqualification in China after initially winning the sprint race. Ferrari's engineering team is developing a significant upgrade to address these issues, targeting the rear suspension. They anticipate this update will debut in time for Hamilton's home race at Silverstone next month. But there's a caveat. This might be one of the last major upgrades for the SF25, as the team is on the verge of ceasing development for the current car. Italian publication Auto Racer reports that while Ferrari acknowledges the current season as dynamic, the focus is rapidly shifting towards 2026. This means a complete transition to Project 678, which aims to set a strong foundation for Ferrari's future competitiveness. Hamilton indicates he's ready to push for this transition, stating that while he's open to maximizing the current season, the emphasis is shifting towards what's next. He shared that after this season, the objective is to truly understand their tools and processes so they can hit the ground running next year. This renewed focus could be pivotal for Hamilton and Ferrari, positioning them better for the upcoming seasons. F1 enthusiasts are eager to see if these changes will pave the way for a return to form for the iconic team and their star driver in the future. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this evolving story and the performance of Ferrari as they strive for success on the racetrack. Hamilton recently addressed the challenges facing Ferrari as Charles Leclerc emphasized the significance of the Spanish Grand Prix for their season. Leclerc urged team principal Fred Vasseur to make strategic decisions regarding their resources for 2025 and 2026, especially considering the new Barcelona technical directive. When asked about the possibility of abandoning the 2025 season, Leclerc firmly stated, "No, we definitely don't want to give up now. It's still kind of early." With the season approaching the midpoint, he stressed that it's crucial for Ferrari to stay competitive, recalling how quickly dynamics changed last year when McLaren introduced upgrades. He highlighted Barcelona as a pivotal moment regarding the regulation changes on front wings, which could significantly affect their performance. Leclerc anticipates that soon, a decision will need to be made, likely by Vasseur, about whether to focus on the current season or start preparing for the next. Meanwhile, as the 2026 regulations loom, they promise one of the most significant overhauls in F1 history, with a greater emphasis on sustainability through 50% electrification and the use of active aerodynamics. However, reports indicate that most manufacturers are struggling with developing their new engines, complicating the landscape for the upcoming season. While Mercedes appears to be in good shape, knowing their historic performance with new rules, many others, including Ferrari, find themselves facing uncertain futures ahead of this monumental shift. As the season unfolds, will Ferrari rise to the challenge? Only time will tell. Aston Martin has confirmed that Lance Stroll will drive at the upcoming Canadian Grand Prix, marking a significant return for the driver after a challenging period of recovery. Stroll recently underwent a procedure on his injured wrist, which kept him out of action during the Spanish Grand Prix. Fans can now breathe a sigh of relief as Stroll is set to race at his home circuit, the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, alongside teammate Fernando Alonso. This two-car strategy promises to bolster Aston Martin's performance on one of the most iconic tracks on the Formula One calendar. Just hours after the Spanish Grand Prix qualifying, Stroll's absence was officially announced. It was revealed that he had been experiencing persistent pain in his hand and wrist, believed to be linked to a surgical procedure he underwent earlier this year. Following the decision to withdraw, his medical team assessed the situation and recommended further intervention to address the ongoing issues. Stroll subsequently underwent a procedure conducted by Dr. Xavier Mir, a highly regarded MotoGP surgeon, enhancing hopes for a swift recovery. With confirmation now in place, all eyes are on Stroll as he prepares to tackle the challenging Canadian circuit. Fans and analysts alike are eager to see how he performs and whether he can reclaim his competitive edge after overcoming this injury. In other news from the world of Formula One, the discussion around head-to-head driver statistics for 2025 is heating up. This season not only shapes the current standings, but also hints at future rivalries and matchups that could further define the future of the sport. As the excitement builds for the Canadian GP, the return of Lance Stroll adds to the storyline, showcasing resilience and determination in the face of adversity. With the support of his team and fans, his comeback promises to be one to watch. Will Lance be able to impress in front of his home crowd? Looking ahead to the upcoming Canadian Grand Prix, fans are buzzing with excitement and speculation. Can Hamilton grab a podium finish? Or could there be consequences for rival Max Verstappen, with talk of potential bans swirling? As the race day approaches, bold predictions abound, and everyone will be watching closely. In the world of Formula One, developments are constant. For those craving the latest updates, following reliable sources, such as planetf1.com, is essential. Staying informed can make all the difference as the season progresses, particularly with key insights about driver performances and team strategies. As we gear up for the Canadian Grand Prix, keeping an eye on the scheduling details is crucial. What time does the race kick off? What about qualifying? These questions matter for fans wanting to catch every thrilling moment. As we follow the journey of these iconic drivers, we're reminded of the unpredictability and excitement that Formula One brings. With Hamilton's new chapter at Ferrari and the ever-volatile dynamics of the sport, every race could change the narrative for teams and drivers alike. Will Hamilton find his stride? Only time will tell. Stay tuned.